What's up, everybody? I'm Trip Morgan. He's Billy Harless, and obviously we're here to talk to you about a disappointing end to the Panthers season in New Orleans. A good New Orleans team. The Panthers didn't really show up, but we're going to talk about it all. Some questionable calls that we felt like were questionable anyway. Obviously didn't determine the game because Carolina's just didn't really, defensively or offensively, didn't really show up today. I felt like anyway. Billy, I think, agrees in most part. But y'all go ahead, hit that like and follow button here for us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Panthersaurus. You can subscribe to us on YouTube at Panthersaurus. All of that good stuff. It's easy as this right here on your mobile. Just any search bar for your social media site, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that jazz. Y'all do that, but we're going to get the show started right now. Let's do it. So what's up, everybody? I'm trying to stay upbeat here, but it's probably not going to stick because I'm just overall disappointed. Like I appreciate the effort at the end of the game. Defense started out great, and the offense started off bad. And then towards the end of the game, they both started coming together. But by that time, it was just really a little too late.
Well, we talked about in the pregame the big plays.
Yep.
And 2 big plays is what we gave up today. We shut down the run game that we were worried about. I think they had 46 yards.
Yep.
The 2 big
41.
plays,
41 yards is rushing. But that's where Drew Brees and his Hall of Fame ass comes into play and does Drew Brees things when he has to. Look, James Bradberry, as much hype as we had for him going into the season, had a very bad year. And I just want to go ahead and say I would not be disappointed one damn bit if Steve Wilks is gone as defensive coordinator moving forward, because this defense, I don't care where they ranked, they took a major step back against big teams, like, playoff caliber teams. When it mattered, they took a big step back, particularly against the defense. And like Drew Brees today, 376 yards. We talked about it before. They had increased over the last 8 games of the regular season. The Panthers defense had increased, giving up over 100 yards in the passing game. James Bradberry took a major step back. Huge. And it was more prevalent the last 2 weeks than it has been ever, in my opinion. Mike Evans beat him time after time again in Tampa Bay. He didn't play terrible, and he didn't play terrible in Atlanta.
No,
but Michael Thomas whooped him.
Yeah, it was.
Michael Thomas and Mike Evans whooped him. And in a class of the NFC South with wide receivers, James Bradberry has not played good. And, the secondary as a whole hasn't played good. But no, there was no pressure on Drew Brees. You stop the run game. You do the 41 yards total rushing. And we were talking about, I kind of mentioned in the pregame talk we had, Carolina's got to change their stuff. And I think we're getting a call in. Carolina's got to change their game plan, but New Orleans doesn't have to change much of theirs. What they did, and they went to passing the ball instead of running it.
Yeah.
Call from
Joseph from Oregon.
Hello.
to accept, press 1.
Oh.
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello. I don't know what's happening.
Y'all on the live. I'm out.
Oh, here you go.
To you or no?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, what's your name?
Hey, I'm Joseph from Oregon.
Okay, what's up, Joseph?
Hey, man, I watched the whole game. I watched the whole season. I'm a Panthers fan. I've been a Panthers fan since Julius Peppers got on the team. I cannot believe that we got there and we just played scared. Like, that first 4th and 2, I believe that we should have went for it. The defense was on the field for forever. They were tired. They were gassed. Why didn't we go for it? I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that we didn't go for it. And I just can't believe that, like, I know Kalen Clay, like you say forever, he sucks. It's just crazy that we have a $100 million quarterback and we don't provide him with weapons. Does that make sense to you guys? No.
Well,
that's it.
And what's your name again?
I'm Joseph.
I'm Joseph
from Eugene, Oregon. Yeah.
All right, cool, Joseph. Yeah. Go ahead, Billy. I know you had something to say.
I'll say that I'll defend the personnel. We gave them the weapons. We got hurt this year, and we gave them Curtis Samuel.
Of course.
Yeah, we had bad luck with our wide receivers, and we did well in a game against a team that we ended up having to go in a shootout against with the wide receivers we had. Now I'll put it as I've said when we got down. Clay missing that touchdown pass.
It's huge. I can't.
Exactly.
Like this is my thing, Joseph. To everybody, like I've said it for the last several weeks. Billy and I have said it, and other like friends of ours on Twitter, we've retweeted and everything have said it. Guys, as much as y'all want to believe Kalen Clay is a fill-in for Damiere Byrd and Curtis Samuel, guys, he's not a speed receiver. He runs a 4.5. I think he was clocked at a 4.55 at his combine for the 40-yard dash. He's not a speed receiver. Like, granted, today he got that pass interference call, but here's something I want all y'all to remember. He can't catch. Like, he struggles. The perfect cam pass in his game, like Billy.
Can't catch.
Exactly. The catch Billy was just talking about is the perfect example. Like, that changes. Everybody talks about a game doesn't come down to one play. And in my opinion, that's bullshit. It's bullshit, yes, because it causes momentum. Yep. It's all about momentum in the NFL. If he makes that touchdown catch, Carolina's all of a sudden up 7-0.
Well,
it's a total different game.
Exactly.
If he makes that touchdown catch, it's a 14-point swing because we missed the touchdown, we missed the field goal, and on the first play of the Saints' possession, Ted Ginn burned us for 80 yards.
Yes, exactly.
It's a 14-point swing.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, we should have won that game. It's no sense why we shouldn't have lost that game. We had the perfect game plan.
Yeah.
We lost that game because, I don't know, man. That's just, I know Samuel was hurt. I know that Bird was hurt, but we could have easily won that game. It makes no sense why we lost. That's just Panther football, I guess. But it's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's frustrating. Well, Joseph, we appreciate the call, man. And keep pounding.
Watching you guys. Yeah, keep pounding, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And look, Joseph's absolutely right. You know, it's kind of one of the things we said before the pregame. And look, I've got to give some credit though to Kalen Clay late in the game. He screwed up on that touchdown drop, but damn if he didn't come up clutch on the wide receiver screen on the 3rd and long. Made a great read with the blocks, and then fought for the extra yardage to get the first down. And then he got the pass interference call deep. And didn't he have another catch late?
He had the catch where he toe tapped.
Yeah, the toe tap. That was the most impressive thing to me. Because, like, when he called it, and I was like, okay, well, he didn't get both feet in. Like, that's me as a Clay supporter. I'm hoping for the best, but I just know Clay as what I've seen from him. And Billy and I were both looking like, nah, that's not a catch. And then it went back, and it was beautiful. And Clay jumped up and knew it, and it was great. But the thing is, at that point in the game, guys, sometimes it's just too late.
Yeah, and we always compare him to Ted Ginn when Ginn was in Carolina. He's not going to catch the easy balls.
Please, don't throw salt on my wounds.
And then he catches that one to keep the drive alive.
Jesus
I just
Christ.
don't.
He's
it's
not
so frustrating.
He's not Ted. Look, guys, you know, I hadn't started this page when Ted Ginn had walked and signed with the Saints. I started this page back in June, and before that, I was on my personal pages, and I was not a fan of the Ted Ginn release because, number one, it was over a couple $1 million twice that the Panthers released him. The first time he went to Arizona and it didn't pan out, we got him back cheap. That was great. This second time, after last year, why we didn't sign Ted Ginn is beyond me because last year wasn't a wide receiver, well, necessarily a wide receiver. It wasn't a Ted Ginn problem. It was a offensive line injury problem. Now this year, it's turned into a wide receiver problem, and we released Ted Ginn. And that's a large part due to Dave Gettleman. But as much as everybody hated Ted Ginn being, kind of our number one receiver, he was a legitimate deep threat that kept defenses honest. Well, and it proved today because that play he beat us on the first touchdown for 80 yards was a classic Panthers play, Cam Newton to Ted Ginn, for 2-3 years running. That was classic.
And I'm not comparing for the speed. We always say, "Oh, there you."
Well, a lot of people do though, but that's the misconception in my mind.
Yeah. So people compare him to Ted Ginn because they think he's fast. His hands is what I mean. He has hooves with his hands, but it's the crazy catches that Ted Ginn always had when he was here. And Clay, how he misses that one at the corner end zone and then catches that one on the sideline, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, and another thing I saw somebody mentioning what's the turnover gap from last year to this year, Jacob Navarro. And look, we'll get postseason stats as the offseason rolls on, and I'll be sure to share those. But I can tell you, well, I feel confident saying the run this second half of the season where the defense got turnovers, I feel like is going to boost them above last year's. But I can tell you, like I said in the pregame talk, that the turnovers would be a key to this game, in my opinion, because in the games, Carolina won 7 of their last 9 regular season games, and that's what a lot of people wanted to talk about. But with that, they haven't gotten it in the last 2 weeks. And we got another phone call coming in here. Oh, if I can hear it.
Call from
Kevin.
To accept.
Kevin, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Devastated, man. Them 2 drop touchdown passes killed us, bro.
It's terrible. It's always terrible.
Yeah, man. I think we're looking good going in next year, though, man. We just need to pick up some receivers. That's it.
Yeah, and look, and the thing with the receivers is like, I've even said it myself. I think Carolina should draft a receiver, and I'm not going against that, but I don't think we necessarily have to go first round receiver. I think the biggest issue is Curtis Samuel got hurt, Damiere Byrd got hurt, Devin Funchess was banged up. It was clear tonight anyway.
Olsen was out.
Yeah, Olsen was out. Devin Funchess was clearly playing through pain. Mad props to him. He fought it out. I'd like to see him give a little bit more effort, maybe on that touchdown throw late in the game. But I'm not gonna pick about that. But I don't disagree. I mean, if you get one more good receiver in the draft, maybe that gives us that extra depth in case this happens again, where the Panthers had receivers. I've seen guys talking about Russell Shepard and Britton Burt. Look, the chances, and we talked about the chances of us going to a Super Bowl are slim to none with those kind of guys. We're hoping and praying on a solid run game. It didn't really happen today. We had, let's see, what were we talking about? We had 107 yards running the game. I would have thought it was less, personally. Christian McCaffrey kept us alive late with a great pass from Cam late, short, and he took it the distance. And it kept the game alive.
Do you think that Funchess is a number 1 receiver?
An elite number 1 receiver? I can't say that. I don't
think he is. Man.
I don't think he is.
One.
Yeah, and
put him back.
And put him back where?
At a number 2 slot receiver.
Yeah,
he plays better.
Yeah, I think I like Funchess. I think I liked him better than Kelvin Benjamin, and I've said that multiple times. But to say he's a number 1 for this offense, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Like you said, I think he would be a better fit as a number 2. But with him being banged up with his shoulder injury for the last month, it's hard to honestly say if we've gotten 100% from Funchess. because every time he catches a ball, man, he goes down. He's running to the sidelines, holding his shoulder, and the trainers are having to look at him. And he continues to fight and come into the games, which is something I have mad respect for. There's a lot of guys that would go out and just sit, and Funchess comes in, and then when he comes back in, he makes a big clutch catch on a 3rd and long, and that's something you can't really argue with. Like I said, I'd like to see him make a little bit more effort on that, that throw to the end zone by Cam late, because I feel like if he drives back to the ball a little bit, he has a chance to cradle that ball for a touchdown and potentially win the game. But it's not something you can nitpick, but so much.
And I think that when we first got rid of KB, he showed number 1 potential. But with the injuries, he took a huge step back. He's taken huge step backs, but it could be because of the injury, because he's definitely not the player he was when we first got rid of KB.
Another thing I was seeing all year, like Carolina's passing routes are too long. It takes them too long to run the route, and Cam don't have time.
It's either that or it's not long enough and we never get the first down. That was the issue at the beginning of the year when we need a first down. We never run to the sticks and come back to it.
Yeah, look, I've defended Shula at times this season, and I'm here to tell you I was highly disappointed with the play that we received today. And I saw a lot of people talking about the last, against Tampa Bay and against Atlanta, that Carolina's offense was holding back, and I constantly said, guys, I just don't believe that. Going into Atlanta after the Tampa Bay game, I said, I think what you see this week with Damiere Byrd getting injured late in the game, I think is what you're going to see in Atlanta. And it happened. And everybody was like, after the Atlanta game, everybody said, hey, well, no, I think we were just trying to play it safe, save it. We already had the playoffs locked up. And I said, I'm not too sure that this receiving group is what y'all want it to be, and it's not. And before this, like the pregame talk, I said I had a feeling Carolina was just going to somehow will their way to victory. I didn't say it was going to be dominant. I said I felt like they would find a way to win, and they damn near did. Regardless of how ugly the game was for the first 3 quarters, they damn near did. But at the end, we just didn't have the personnel to do it, and the running game was shut down. And I think that has a lot to do with Mike Shula didn't run a damn play action with Cam under center until the second half, and that baffles me. My biggest thing going in this game was run the football. The Saints defense isn't great against it, and keep them off balance with play action. And what do? They run the football or they throw a straight pass. They don't do both. They don't mix things up. If this was a game, and I'm actually worried Mike Shula might be stuck around again because of the way they made a comeback in this game, because Cam Newton carries this fucking team every week when they're down in games that count, and Cam Newton carries them and makes Mike Shula look good. And I hope that this isn't the case once again moving forward next year. I think, and here's another thing. I feel Steve Wilkes should be gone before Mike Shula is. This defense took a major step back this year, in my opinion. I don't give a damn what your stats say. They took a step back with their blitzing, their man coverage. James Bradbury was terrible this year because of man coverage. He got whooped by Mike Evans, Michael Thomas. It was awful at times, every other week. If they're not making turnovers,
he was a little bit off this year too.
Exactly. That's an even better point. Kuechly was bad at times, and I firmly believe it was the man coverage scheme and blitzing Steve Wilkes formatted this year that had everybody hyped up going into the year, and it wasn't the same. With Shula's zone defense, there's a better ball hawking scheme where you can force turnovers, and that wasn't there this year.
Yeah, and today we talked about it. We didn't blitz at the beginning of the game, and we were shutting the Saints down. For some reason, we went back to blitzing, and we put everything on our awful-ass secondary, and we're not getting the pressure. So we stop blitzing. We get some 3-and-outs. We go back to blitzing. When it's broke, don't fix it, and that's the issue. It's the same thing. I was looking at stats before when we played the Saints last time. We run the ball to the right on certain plays, and we get big chunk plays. We just abandon the run altogether.
Yep.
It's just I don't understand what the coordinators are seeing, because they're not watching the same game that we do.
Yep. Well, we appreciate the call, man. Hopefully, maybe next year we'll find some people in the draft, and we'll get better at it. So, but I appreciate you calling in.
All right, brothers. Y'all keep doing your thing, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Keenan Ashworth, love the show, guys. Watching from Kuwait. Thank you. Appreciate you tuning in. Look, Justin Moore, officiating was subpar, but it really came down to the offense not being able to get it done in the red zone. Bingo.
And that's been
red zone troubles.
That's been the issue all season is we put so much on our defense, and then our offense, we can't win with field goals.
Yep.
I mean, we had, 5 field goals the week before, something crazy. So we can't win with field goals, and we definitely can't win when we're dropping passes in the end zone and then missing the field goal. If we hit that field goal because Clay has no hands, we win on a field goal. Now, I think when it comes to the officiating, the intentional grounding, I don't agree with.
Yeah, I think it was bullshit.
I also don't
bullshit. NFL's bullshit.
I also don't agree with the interception not being reviewed to find that I don't think there was enough possession that it would have been a fumble, and we'd be at the 50-yard line instead of 30.
Yeah, I think it's our buddy Jaquan.
Some things I just keep
To accept.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, man, it's Jaquan.
Hey, what's up, buddy? I thought that was you, Spokane.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So what's up, man?
All right, so I'm going to just cut to the chase because I've been reading a lot of the comments about Mike Shula and Steve Wilkes. Look, I'm going to just say this right now. We can't keep blaming those two guys. Yes, we did blitz a lot, but due to the fact we lost, at the end of the day, we lost the game. We can't blame Shula. We can't blame Steve Wilkes. Yes, there were some questionable calls by Wilkes because I was like, why is he blitzing? We weren't blitzing in the first half or in the first quarter at least.
Yeah.
And then that one play that we did to McCaffrey was like a bubble screen. I was like, what are we doing? That's when Derek Anderson was in.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I don't understand why that's going on. And we need receivers.
We need a lot.
Honestly.
And
we just need.
And
we need a lot of help.
Yeah, and Jaquan, honestly, we all seem to forget. Like Billy and I do it all the time. We're sitting here talking about why is this team so bad? And then we oh yeah, we lost Curtis Samuel and Demir Byrd at wide receiver. That's when you lose a speed threat, that's the reason we traded Kelvin Benjamin. And Jaquan, we got another caller coming in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we're gonna keep hitting on your point when we answer them. But I appreciate you calling, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, man.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, you too, man. Keep pounding. Okay, well, apparently they just hung up. But
when we talk about the play call, there was some question.
Of course they did.
The Burson through the backfield in motion, like we were going to do an end around with Burson.
Yeah,
what was
Brent Burson? But this is my thing. That's what we're left with. Shula has. This is where I have to defend Shula. What does he have to work with? You have to send somebody in motion on these plays with McCaffrey that you had drawn up to originally be a Curtis Samuel, a Demir Byrd. You're not going to – you can't – when Brenton Burson went in motion to the backfield, I literally laughed pre-snap. You can't expect but so much, and the guys honed right in on McCaffrey and bottled him up behind the line of scrimmage. And I can't say that that's more fault, like Jaquan was saying. I can't say that's fault to Mike Shula. One thing I will say, Steve Wilkes deserves some fault, Jaquan, and I'm sorry. I'm not on the Steve Wilkes bandwagon. We got another caller calling in here.
Call from
Dante Ames.
To accept.
Hey, Dante, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, brother? Hey, man, first of all, I want to say I appreciate what y'all are doing, man. I love the show, man.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hey, we had a little bit of disagreement last week when we played the Falcons. I was commenting a lot. But really, man, with Shula, man, I mean, if you think about it in the second quarter, I mean, it was second down. He basically came out in a run formation with no option for pass.
Yeah.
And blew it. And that was horrible, man. I really think Shula needs to go. I think Wilkes needs to go too, man.
Hey, look, Dante, I'm not going to disagree with you at this point because that's kind of what we were saying right before you called in. And number one, my biggest agreement with you is Steve Wilks. I think, and it's bad that it's bad that after 1 year I think Steve Wilks should go before Mike Shula, because that's saying something. And like I said before to start the show, I don't care what the damn stats say about the Panthers defense. They gave up against good teams. They were terrible in the secondary, and I think a lot of that has to do with the man coverage and blitz schemes that he was running. They constantly, by guys like Drew Brees, were getting eaten up. I mean, they were getting eaten alive.
Yeah.
And James Bradbury, who appeared to be a great corner, much like Josh Norman in zone coverages under Sean McDermott, was eaten alive under man, and we have nothing to show for it. We had no turnovers. I said going in this game, we need turnovers. Nothing.
We had one. We had the interception late.
Well, yeah, they counted that, but you know, I'd have rather had the incomplete pass at that point because it was a midfield.
The crazy thing is, I was telling a friend of mine, the Saints ran a lot of man coverage versus us, and Shula should have exposed that with rub routes and pick routes. He didn't. We had one nice pass to McCaffrey underneath when he had two receivers inside of him, where he went underneath for a nice pass to get a first down. Why didn't we expose that with them running man coverage? I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, and another thing I had this whole game, like my whole issue the first half, I kept tweeting on Twitter at Panthers Source, by the way, if y'all are trying to follow us there. I kept tweeting, why is Carolina constantly, you know, lining up with Cam under center and the I formation in the wings and not running a play action pass? They didn't do it the whole damn first half, and it's when you have Cam Newton at quarterback, that is a big advantage with a play action pass, and they did nothing with that until the second half. And yeah, it worked with Greg Olsen on a 3rd and 1, and he got 15 yards. Is that what you were saving it for, and not a touchdown? Give me a break. Mix it up like you did the second matchup against the Saints on the first drive, and it worked beautifully. But no, not today. They line up with Cam under center and run it down their throat, or they line up with Cam and shotgun and then pass the ball.
Yeah.
I like the empty backfield. We had a lot of missed opportunities where he hit Greg Olsen underneath for like a 2nd and 8 when made it 3rd and 2, but he had McCaffrey wide open for a touchdown because the defense was confused.
Yeah.
I mean, create the mismatches, and that's why I was so hard on Shula last week, and you know, for the whole season and the season before that, I'm hard on Shula because he doesn't know how to expose the mismatches, man.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen you commenting up here saying that, and like my whole thing is though with this is like we've all got to take this and look at it like different ways. Like, yeah, he could do some things better, but when a guy like Kalen Clay drops a touchdown pass early in this game, that's not on Mike Shula. Cam put it right where it was.
No.
It was on. That was a great call by Mike Shula if it turns to a touchdown. But these are things that happen, and then later in the game, your coordinator has to adjust. When your coordinator is making play calls and we're driving down the field and receivers are dropping passes or somebody's dropping a pitch toss like Cameron Artis-Payne and fumbling it and turning the ball over, I can't blame Mike Shula. I'm sorry. I can't. When you turn the ball over 3 times in a game and it's because of your players and not the play call, I'm not going to blame Mike Shula. When you go into a game like this and Cam played one of his better games all year and it doesn't show because drop passes and just there was no run game essentially. Yep. I can't defend Mike Shula. My whole thing with Mike Shula is he's not the best OC in the NFL. By no means. I've always said that. I've defended some of his games, but I've always said he's not the best. My second thing is we could always have a better OC potentially. But to sit here and say Mike Shula is our problem in Carolina, I can't. After watching this game, I would agree with you. But some other games, no.
And I also think that we did good with Dale Williams at right tackle, but I'm happy that Byron Bell is gone. He was the worst ever.
Oh my God.
Dale Williams did did good, but Trey Turner took a step down this season after he came back from injury and before injury. So that's another thing. I think Norwell played well, and I also think that if Ryan Khalil stepped down, that Larson would be good taking his spot because he played well when Khalil was out.
Yeah, and we've actually talked about how well we felt like Larson did. He's had some bad games, but he's had some good games. But I think learning under Khalil has helped. But that's not necessarily that could be an option going into the draft that Carolina looks at because Khalil is getting older, and so is Olsen. This is a good tight end draft, and Carolina could look at a tight end to fill in for Olsen. So,
and I'll go back to the Shula defense. There's been probably more times we've called for Shula to be fired over the whole season than we have defended him. Since we've lost the receiving core, we've defended him a little bit more.
Yes.
But at the beginning of the season, we called for, even in wins, we called for Shula's head, said, hey, he needs to go.
Yeah.
And over the years, we've said that many, many times. The past couple weeks, giving him a little bit more. It seemed like when we would call him out, he would come out with a perfect game plan the next week. So we aren't 100% behind him.
Yep.
If you think about it, I like Sanchez and I like Burson as good possession receivers. But other than that, we have Kalen Clay as a speed receiver. Burrow was out with an injury, but the play calling that we continue to run was built for deep threat speed receivers.
We need playmakers.
Exactly.
Yeah. We need playmakers.
And I don't even think the offensive line played bad this game.
No, they didn't play terrible. There was one or two that cost us, particularly the late one by Ryan Khalil. But I mean, as good as Ryan Khalil's been for Carolina all these years, if you want to give him hell for it, you have at it. I can't necessarily do it over one play. But Dante, I appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, man. I appreciate y'all taking my call, man. Look forward to talking to y'all next season.
Oh, yeah, right, buddy. Keep pounding.
Yep.
And, yeah, I mean, like Dante said, I mean, I think we could do better than Shula. But I think we could also do a lot worse than Shula.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest issue. And we're going back to the stats here. Cam Newton, 24 of 40, obviously had to pass a lot late in his game, but 349 passing yards.
And he didn't turn the ball over.
349 passing yards. And the first, his passes were on point. And I'm going to go back to this. I said it on Twitter in the first half. I'm not normally this guy. I'm not normally a guy that blames officiating for games. The first half may have been the worst officiated game I've seen in a long time, especially following the way the Atlanta game was called against us last week and then watching them against the Rams, because it was constantly, time after time, holding against our receivers, wasn't called. Kalen Clay practically had to beg for the deep shot that Cam took to him where he was tackled before the ball came down. He had to beg. It took 5 seconds for the ref to throw the ball, and I said then, I said, well, this could be a worrisome thing if you want to watch this going forward. But Cam, 24 of 40, 349 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 sacks for 43 yards, obviously the big one given up by what looked to be Ryan Khalil. I haven't obviously watched that tape. We're going to hit some of y'all's comments here because y'all been rolling in. Keep them coming. We're going to try to get to all of them. Carlton, Coheen, what do we expect Shula to do with the scrub talent we had on field? Exactly. That's kind of my point. You can't expect but so much. Offense was better than the defense. And that was Mike Strib, a constant follower and listener. Thank you, Mike. I completely agree with Mike here. I feel like the defense, they started the game great. They had 2 stops. The offense failed. They had a field goal opportunity that Graham Gano missed on. Should have been a touchdown catch because Kalen Clay dropped it. So Kalen Clay failed the offense. The defense did its job. Cam Newton came out, led the offense. Mike Shula did his job. He ran a good enough play call. Carolina likes to run the time of possession and rule that aspect of the game, so they did that. Kalen Clay dropped a touchdown. Sent Graham Gano out for a field goal kick. Boom, missed kick. All of a sudden, momentum swings, New Orleans. I agree with Mike. And, again, it goes back to I'm almost pulling for Steve Wilks to leave this defense for the personnel that we have. It thrived under Sean McDermott, and it has not under Steve Wilkes. I wouldn't be disappointed if he's gone.
Yeah, the offense put points on the board today. Had they been touchdowns, it's been a lot better. But the offense did what it needed to do to get points. That's what they want to do, get points. The defense, I think they played well. In my opinion, 2 big plays.
Yeah,
2 big plays made the difference.
Yeah, and look, the defense. One thing I will give credit for is the defense stepped up when it needed to. Like the offense finally started getting going late, driving, making plays happen, and the defense stepped up. Luke Kuechly surrounded the defense much like Cam Newton did last week against Atlanta in the first half. He huddled the guys up and said, "Look, all we need is one stop, and we can make this all. We can give our offense a shot." They did that. Cam Newton goes out there, and then on the second down, Ryan Khalil, bang.
Yeah.
Or it appeared to be Ryan Khalil. I haven't actually watched the film. I'm just watching the quick replays that they showed on live broadcast. Seemed to be him giving up the pressure. And then the last play of the game was just a terrible miscommunication. It looked like a false start. Nobody knew what the play was going on. It looked a lot like the game against Atlanta late in the game.
Yeah, so with a false start, does a false start at that point, does that run a 10-second runoff?
No, I don't know.
So we get a flag, and we get another shot with a play that we can actually run, but nothing's called. Yeah. Like, that's I don't know. The refs swallowed their whistles and kept their flags in their pocket a lot today. And then if you want the intentional grounding, I'm not 100% sure what that was.
Yeah. And guys, like I said before, y'all can be sure to like and follow us right here on Facebook. We're closing in on 3,000. We started this page in June. We've had a blast. We're going to do this throughout the off season for the draft and whatnot. We'll do things here and there, but we go live every week for a preview, a post game show. We'd like to take y'all's calls and do all of that. So y'all be sure to follow us right here on, like I said, like and follow us here on Facebook, and then on Twitter at Panthersaurus, on YouTube, subscribe to us at Panthersaurus. It's all at Panthersaurus in your search bar on your popular social media feeds. So, but like you were saying, shut down the run game, and then, I mean, Drew Brees just picked the secondary apart tonight.
And with no pressure, he was going to do that, and that's where the blitzing killed us. We didn't blitz at the beginning, and we're going to give up passes, we're going to give up yards, but not the big deep threats, not huge plays. And I don't understand why you fix things that aren't broken.
Yeah, Jordan Moore commenting here, we did a great job stopping the run. We made Drew Brees beat us with his arm. Why wasn't Olsen more of a target? And it's a great point. We did, one of the things we talked about in the pregame talk was we stopped the run game and made Drew Brees beat us with his arm. That's a fact. But the problem was he beat us with his arm. The secondary was awful today. Why was Greg Olsen not more of a target? I think he was a target. I mean, Cam seemed to go to him a couple times, and there was a couple times he had a holding and a pass interference call. But, I mean, you know, with the receivers we have, Olsen's going to be one of those guys that the defense dials into. This defense, if I'm the Saints defensive coordinator, I'm going into the matchup against the Panthers, stop Greg Olsen in the passing game. And then I'm going Christian McCaffrey. Outside of that, I would line up any of my cornerbacks one-on-one with any of their receivers and see what they could do. If they start making plays happen, we start adjusting and bracketing receivers at that point. If they don't, we keep what we're doing, and we bring pressure on Cam Newton, and guess what they did? They did the latter of all that. Yep. They bracketed Greg Olsen. They had a couple of holding calls, but overall, there was a lot of stuff missed, and our receivers were just not there. Russell Shepard has been a big disappointment.
Yeah.
Russell Shepard has been a huge disappointment. I've seen a couple of plays where he's made good plays in special teams, but outside of that, he has not been the receiver that everybody hyped up coming out of Tampa Bay that we all believed in. It's just not been good. Let's see, Corey Davis. If Steve Wilkes takes a head coaching job, which is almost a guarantee, do you feel a Jack Del Rio homecoming for the defensive coordinator position? No, I don't, Corey. I don't see that. Joseph Jones, we gotta quit the zone defense. We weren't running zone defense. That's a lot of the problem. Once the Redskins cut Norman, sign him ASAP. Maybe, but Norman might be 33 by the time that happens. It's not going to do us any good. Part of the reason we let him go was because of his age. If you can get him this year, that's fine. I'm all for that. But he was 29 when we let him go. So, Johannes West, should we go after John Fox or Del Rio for defensive coordinator? Look, I've seen this pop up a lot lately with John Fox being the Panthers defensive coordinator. And I don't know. I mean, he's been a good defensive coordinator in the past. He's obviously he was a good head coach for Carolina for years. But I don't know with the way the NFL is and the NFC South in particular with New Orleans and a coach like Sean Payton running an offense. You have Matt Ryan, Julio Jones. I don't know that that's the answer either. But I can say this. I'm down for anybody who can stop those teams we just mentioned because Steve Wilkes clearly didn't do it this year. Jordan Moore, I think nobody wants to blame Graham Gano because he's had such a great season, and I can forgive the mistake, but I really think this falls on him. With that 25-yard miss on the last drive, we could have easily kicked a field goal and taken the lead. You're correct.
Well, it's a game of dominoes. So that missed field goal was missed because we dropped the wide-open pass to Kalen Clay. The missed field goal then turned into an 81-yard bomb.
81-year-old,
yeah,
same difference.
81-yard bomb to Ted Ginn. So I really think that it's a domino effect, and you go back to Clay not having hands because that ball was perfect.
Yeah.
Now
Cam I can't express how dialed in Cam's passes were in the first half. Okay.
At some points, he had some.
You want to talk about the Greg Olsen pass out of bounds? I would argue that's an out of bounds throwaway every time.
Not that the one where Greg was open, he almost overthrew him. Greg had to jump.
That was second half. I said first half.
Okay, well,
but he still caught it and ran for 15 yards.
Yeah. But if the ball's placed better, we're getting more yards. Like I'm just saying, some of his ball placement today.
That's where I feel like people nitpick.
What was the pass that he threaded in there? Who was it?
That was the Greg Olsen on the sideline. The deep out.
The one in the middle, like at the hash, it was right. I mean, the defender was right in front of him.
I could tell you.
Was that Shepard didn't catch that?
No, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't remember that one. But he threaded a lot in the first half.
It was left side of the field.
Yeah.
And he threw it and it hit the hand.
You thought it was You thought it was an overthrow on McCaffrey. That was Greg Olsen. It was a deep out. But I don't know which one you're talking about. But the first half, he was dialed in. He was throwing. He threw that dime, that laser to Greg Olsen on the deep out, and then he threw that perfect pass to Kalen Clay, who just let it go right through his hands. And then Ed Dixon. Ed Dixon was another one, right over the middle. He threw it to him, went right through his hands. That may have been the one you're talking about.
No, it was one of the, I don't remember who it was.
I mean, these are things like, and then Colin Coward, you know what, and hot take moment coming right here. Colin Coward, fuck you. Fuck you. Dude, you are like the biggest douchebag for hot takes on ESPN, Fox, whatever the hell it is you're on. For making hot takes. Cam was dialed in the first and second quarter, throwing great passes, receivers dropping them, and you have the nerve to get on Twitter and talk about, oh, Cam is garbage. His accuracy percentage shows what he has been. And then everybody responds back to you talking about, oh, how was that pass to Kalen Clay a bad pass? It's not. His accuracy percentage shows where he's at. You're going off the damn throw he just made, and you're defending it, but you're going to sit here and say Cam Newton is a terrible quarterback. No, Colin, fuck you. Fuck you, dude. You don't know shit about the NFL. You're a terrible analyst, if that's what you want to call yourself. I don't know what you want to call yourself. You're garbage. Nobody likes you. You throw out hot takes for shit just to make headlines, and that's what it does. Here I am talking about it, feeding you more headlines. You're terrible. Your takes are terrible, and your beef with Cam Newton is garbage. You hated him when we drafted him, and then all of a sudden in 2015 you loved him. and then as soon as he starts doing bad, you're so damn trendy. It's ridiculous. You ride that fucking roller coaster all the time. You're garbage. You're garbage. I think you're garbage. Obviously, I'm sitting here not making a damn dime, but here we go.
I will say that ESPN didn't like him. Disney, that owns ESPN, didn't like him. They bought all the Fox Sports networks except for the one he's on, and he was kicked from ESPN.
Yeah, he's fucking terrible.
He has a lot of hate out there.
Thumbs too. All right. This show just got graphic all of a sudden. We're going to go back to y'all's comments. Need some talent around Cam. We have no name wide receivers. Our best option is our tight end running back. You're absolutely correct. Derek Love, he is correct. Draft Calvin Ridley. I don't see that happening. Derek Love, bring in John Fox for D coordinator. Who are we going to bring in if we fire Shula and Wilkes? I don't know, but I don't know. With Wilkes, I'm not as concerned because Rivera's a strong defensive-minded coach. I trust him there. It would be more of if we get rid of Shula, who would we bring in is what I'd be more worried about.
And there's so much more to go on. There's still, 3 weeks of playing left to go, and you have a lot of coaches and coordinators that are going to be moved around. Who knows? He might interview bad, and he doesn't get picked up, and he's our defensive coordinator again. Could happen.
Well, and that was kind of my thing. We were in a fantasy chat with our boys, Justin, Robbie, Mike, and all of them, our fantasy football chat. And, Justin asked, where is he supposed to go again? I said, the Giants. But here lately, there's been a lot. Yeah, but here lately, the Giants were the hot team. Here lately, there hasn't been they've been looking at a lot of other, they looked at Jim Schwartz from the Eagles defensive coordinator. They were looking at him for another head coaching job. They've looked at several other positions. Of course, now that we've lost, I'm sure Steve Wilkes will be the first one in the door after this, with Dave Gettleman being GM now. So that'll be something to watch. But Dante Ames, the hold on Davis was big. I don't know when you posted that. I can't tell you. Me and Billy were ready to rip my 70-inch TV off the wall.
Yeah.
I was furious. Those things make differences in a game. It's momentum changers, especially in it. Home cooking, whatever.
I saw a comment from Kevin Strib. I think it was, why does Worley wear the cold weather gear? I think he needs to start covering his face up because he sucks.
Yeah,
he's worn it all year, cold, hot, inside. I don't know what it is. It's his thing.
And props to Ladarius Gunner coming in, laying the wood. He did well. Laying the wood, coming in for Darryl Worley. Mad props there. Kelly Teeter should have kept KB. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Did you see that push off in the Bills game today? That's KB in a nutshell.
What do you have? One reception for 7 yards or something like that in the game?
No. KB was not the answer, guys. I'm sorry. Quit holding on to that. We send Cam. Boom Baker. We send Cam to war with water pistols.
That's how I feel sometimes.
Boom. It's not by fault because we had injuries this year, but I agree. By the way, this show tonight is brought to you by Elysian Space Dust IPA. It's good stuff. I'm definitely going to be finishing this six-pack and going to something stronger afterwards because, damn it, the Carolina Panthers season is over, Billy.
Yeah.
Damn it. Y'all call in. Somebody call in. Let's talk something before this season is just like completely over and we end the show.
This has been a bad fan week.
This is like a vent.
Two Tar Heel losses and a Panthers loss in 1 week.
The Tar Heels are done. We knew that, but the damn Panthers. Well, we should have really known they were done.
Somebody says we need Martavis Bryant. Well, I'll say this: Martavis Bryant.
It's too much of a headache.
We're gonna have new ownership.
That doesn't matter.
But
doesn't matter.
In the ownership we have now, he doesn't fit what Carolina stands for, and they're big on that. So maybe if the atmosphere changes, maybe that's how I feel.
Yeah, Caleb Reese commenting, do you think that was intentional grounding last series? No, I don't. I think it was complete bullshit. He was clearly outside the hash marks and outside the pocket. I thought it was complete BS. And for people who say that play doesn't come down, the game doesn't come down to that one play, it's a 10-second runoff. It counts for yards. It's a big part of that game, in my opinion. This is like we've already said this. Particular plays on series in a game matters. Everything is momentum based. The Kalen Clay drop and Gano missed field goal. Boom! All of a sudden, what was your immediate thought when that happens? Oh shit! Yep. New Orleans this is just how this game is going to go. That's your immediate thought. That transcribes. These players are humans too. That transcribes to them. Don't think for a second it doesn't. But that's how the NFL and sports in general works. You have to have these plays go your way in a lot of situations. And tonight I felt like they didn't, and there were some missed calls I felt like could have went Carolina's way, but overall, yes, Carolina could have played a lot better. Cam Newton, I felt like, stepped up early and often in this game, and it wasn't on him. The running game didn't get going like I was saying I felt should be a big issue. Again, 107 yards, excuse me. Ooh, that's a big difference. We got another call. This one from South Carolina. It's got to be a Panthers fan.
Call from.
Overall, yes. Boom, Baker.
To accept, press.
Hey, Boom, what's up?
Another call. This one from South Carolina. What's going on, man?
Not too much, man. Can you quiet mute our feed in your background?
Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right.
Appreciate it.
So what you want to talk about?
It's so much, man. I don't even know where to start, and I only watched like half of the game because I couldn't even watch it back at the end when it got close. But I want to talk about these water pistols, man. We sending Cam out there with.
You're right.
How could we even expect to win without? I mean, okay, I like Funch. I didn't like Funches when we drafted him, but I love him now.
Yeah.
But I still don't think he's a true, pure number one. But how can we expect to win with no true number one receiver?
You can't. And I would agree with you. Like we were telling Jaquan earlier, I think it was, or Dante, it may have been Dante. I don't feel Devin is the answer at number one, but he's also been banged up this last month with the shoulder injury since the Saints game. So I can't. It's hard to throw so much at him and expect him to do so well while he's banged up. I mean, but I give him credit coming in and fighting constantly. But do I think he's the true number one answer? No. But I'm here to tell you, if you expect Carolina to go into the draft and draft a number one overall receiver with their first round pick, I think you're wrong. But I think they should do it with the second or third round pick. They have 2 third round picks this year, and I would like to see something happen there.
But I don't even think because see this is another one of my gripes. I've been saying this for years, but we got front office problems. It's like they don't. This is just my opinion. I'm not an NFL scout or coach or nothing, but it don't look like we put an offense on the field that can win a championship. And year after year, we tend to pass in free agency on guys. It's like we don't even make a play at some guys that may could change things up a little bit. And I'm kind of wondering, is there anybody going to be available this offseason that could change our offense? And will Shula actually design the offense to work with what he got? It's like he got a system in place, but it don't work with the players.
I know a guy that, regardless of if it's Shula or not, that I've kind of kept an eye on is Paul Richardson, the receiver from Seattle. I feel like he's a good deep threat, and obviously he's killed Carolina a couple times with big touchdowns, deep touchdowns late in games, going up for at catch point balls and stuff. He's a receiver that would be affordable in free agency because Carolina's. Here's the thing with Carolina's cap situation going forward. They're getting limited, and I said this before the season. We were talking. Actually, I talked about it when we released KB. Was going into this offseason and the next offseason, as much as Dave Gettleman did to free up cap space, it was for this very reason, because we are going to be in a tough situation. We need to sign Andrew Norwell, our left guard, to a big extension. We shored up Trey Turner. We need to sign Andrew Norwell. These are little things that go unnoticed, but we need to sign him. Then you have Star Lotulelei you have to worry about. He might be walking. I don't know that Star Lotulelei will be back next year. He had a good season in his contract year. I don't know that he'll be back next year. If the Panthers keep Andrew Norwell on a franchise tag, it's going to cost them $14 to $15 million in a year. That's a lot of dough, and they could cut down on that by signing him to a long-term contract. And I feel like they have to, honestly. With Cam Newton at quarterback, you need to keep the all-pros on this line that you already have shored up. Yeah. And Matt Khalil has not been the answer, as we much expected, at left tackle. Darrell Williams has been graded good at right tackle, but he's had a lot of help as well. We also have Taylor Moton that we drafted this year. I'd like to see him get some more playing time and try to fight for one of those spots. But, you know, Paul Richardson's the guy I think that the Panthers could bring in cheap and maybe help out a lot. But ultimately, I think it's, once again, on the draft. Try to find, you know, it's one in a million. It's a diamond in the rough. But you want to find that Steve Smith-type player that has the attitude and will, that wants to go out and fight for every damn yard he earns and can run routes and do everything. I mean, you're not going to find another Steve Smith, obviously, but go out in the draft, find somebody, and hopefully it hits. Getting Curtis Samuel and Damiere Byrd back next season healthy and keeping them healthy will be a huge boost, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm still not sold on those suckers, man.
Which one?
Not sold on them. Either one, Byrd or Samuels, especially not Samuels. He the one came from Tampa. Which one came from Tampa?
No, Russell Shepard came from Tampa. We drafted Samuel as a rookie this year from Ohio State.
Yeah. Shepard, I'm not sold on. I wasn't sold on Byrd either, but I was hearing good things about him, so I would give him a chance. But I don't know that much about Samuels. Like you said, he been banged up. Yep. But something else I wanted to ask y'all about. Now, the interception at the end, was that Mike Adams? Was that Adams?
Yes.
And you telling me a vet like him don't know better than to knock the ball down?
Yep, that was an agreement we both had. Yeah. That was a bad, and I honestly felt like the ball wasn't intercepted. I didn't think he had possession personally, but they didn't review it.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't know why they didn't review that, or at least call time to review it on the field. But he beat himself up on the sideline about that. He knew he screwed up.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And I was upset too, because it seemed like that was just under 2 minutes. That should have been reviewed automatically, right? All turnovers get reviewed, right? Anyway.
Exactly. Yep, you're right. Yep.
It's like they didn't even check.
Yeah,
it was at a minute
the same way. And when they lined up, when the offense was already out there lining up, we were kind of like, well, what the hell? Like when they showed the replay on the live broadcast, we said, I don't feel like that's an interception. If you're going to call BS catches and incompletions on the offensive receivers, that should be an incomplete on the defender, in my opinion. But
yeah. The way catches have gone this year, that was not a catch.
Yeah.
They've been calling it this year by rule. That didn't look like a catch.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And
but
that could have changed the position too.
Oh yeah,
that's what about yard difference.
Yeah, it was 20 yards, and it like you said, it was a minute 51 seconds left on the clock. So it should have been a timeout on the field for them to review. And I don't know, I don't understand why they didn't. The refs at the end of the game, I don't know if because it was so close they were scared to make calls or scared to make those determinations, because even had the alternate refs had to come out and run the 10-second rule for the intentional grounding. So I think they were really nervous at the end of the game on we don't want to call to decide this game.
And I feel like that's complete bullshit anyway. But Boom, I appreciate you calling, man. I hope you'll call in. Well, obviously next season, but throughout the off season, we'll be talking about the draft and everything else. I hope you'll call in then as well.
All right, man. Good to talk to y'all. And hopefully Hootie won't dig us another hole, man. Y'all be good, though. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Keep pounding.
Yep. Keep pounding.
Cam Newton at the podium right now just was stating about his supporting cast, and Cam stepped up and said, I'm the leader of this team. As I go, the team goes. That's classic Cam. Never has Cam once thrown a teammate of his under the bus, and he gets so much flack for it, I feel like. And I think it's complete bullshit.
Yeah, he doesn't. Last week, I think there was some. I think there was some finger pointing last week, and that's what we talked about.
But never in
not in a press conference.
On the sidelines is one thing. You're never going to be able to depict exactly what happens on the sideline. And I don't think he's ever. I wouldn't say he's ever depicted a personal player on the sideline blaming them for anything that you could define. Him and Olsen may have had miscommunications against Atlanta, but again, here he is again with terrible, like, Brenton Burson, Russell Shepard, and Kalen Clay. Like, look, respect to y'all. Y'all made it to the NFL. We have not, but you're not going to compete in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Cam Newton just went out there and threw his name on the line, an already polarizing figure in the NFL, for you, saying he leads this team and that it's on him regardless of what happens. Cam was clearly frustrated after the Kalen Clay drop, and he should be. This is Cam being asked to carry this team time and time again, in my opinion. Now, obviously, there was injuries this year. That hurt. Last year, there was offensive line injuries. That hurt. The receiver injuries obviously caught up with us this year. But it was going into this game, Devin Funchess started off, it looked like he was going to be out of this game.
Yep.
And it was like, well, damn, if we lose Devin Funchess,
I was like,
just
who
hang
else?
up the damn season, guys.
Who
Sorry.
else is on the sideline to play at that point? And he can show frustration. Last week there was a lot of frustration. Today it go into his helmet when they draw the pass, and to Ed Dixon, who usually catches the ball, and you just see, come on, man, like.
Corey Davis answering some questions about free agency wide receivers, throwing out Mike Wallace, Eric Decker, Sammy Watkins would be good fits since they are free agents coming this season. I would not be – I gave my buddy Scott Leedy on Twitter. He does some of our – I get him up here for some of the film review for the Panthers games. I'll try to get him up here this week, actually, now that we've talked about it. But – He's a big fan of Sammy Watkins. I've never been a big fan of Sammy Watkins, but his speed and the fact that the attention he controls is something I'm entertained by, especially considering he shouldn't be terribly expensive because he hasn't put up big numbers. And Carolina needs that kind of person. I feel like Curtis Samuel could be that kind of guy maybe, given time. But I don't know that Carolina goes hard at receiver this year in the draft. Maybe, like I said, one of the third-round picks I personally think they should use. I don't know that they will.
Somebody asked about Peppers, and I saw a tweet earlier from Jordan Rodrigue that he hasn't made the decision he's going to come back. He says he needs time to reflect, as they do every season when they get up in age.
Yeah.
That
would be interesting.
He says he feels good, though. So
if he comes back for another season, he could do some serious damage if he performs like he did this year.
Yeah.
He was a big boost to this defense. Timothy Williams, no, he didn't catch the INT. I completely agree. We're going to scroll down. I'm gonna have to skip a lot of y'all's comments, try to scroll down to the newer ones. Peyton disrespected the hell out of us. Dante Ames, who called in earlier, yes, he did. But look,
I think any other team in the NFC South, if you beat them 3 times, everybody's going to disrespect. They're tight games. You play twice a year. They swept us. I think we would have done the same thing we had thrown shade. I was hoping we'd win just after that Kamara touchdown. They all went over there and put a 3-0 up. When we got close, I was like, please.
I hope.
Please.
Because Cam Newton and the 2015 team got so much shit for celebrating with 2 minutes left in the game, for celebrating and taking pictures on the sideline. And now it's the most popular thing ever.
Yeah.
Every team is doing it. The Saints are infamous for it this year. And they're what they ended up 11-5?
Yeah.
No, 12-4. Whatever it was. They weren't 15-1. And Carolina and Cam Newton and all them caught so much shit for it, and now it's the thing to do. Like, it's bullshit. And I hate to bring up past occurrences, but don't sit here and say it's, oh, that's immature. That's Cam Newton. If he gets his ass beat, he's frowning, this blah, blah, blah. No, that's bullshit. I'd have loved to seen the New Orleans Saints faces last week when they got beat by the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
What were those faces in the locker room like? I'm sure they were pouting, upset, and I'm sure it played into a factor of them coming into this game at home in the playoffs. Caleb Reese, you think we should have played again? I think he meant paid, and yes, I do think we should have paid again. Peyton brought out the broom in his locker room. The coach, yeah, but that the hell with Peyton.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Look, I'd have brought out the one finger for one win if we'd have beat them.
Yeah,
because this is the only win that really counts. I mean, we made it to the playoffs. If we had beat them tonight, they could have those other 2 wins, and they could carry their ass home to, down the street or wherever it is they live. But they beat us fair and square. Fair might be kind of judgmental. Don Garner, we need more playmakers on defense, period. Go get that shutdown corner in the draft or at least a decent safety. I think we could use better playmakers in the secondary. I firmly believe it has more to do with the scheme that Steve Wilkes ran this year. I can't express it enough.
I will say that the secondary stepped up today and made some amazing tackles in the backfield. Yep. I think it has to do with maybe the scheme. There's some – I don't even know when the Thomas catch, when Bradbury tried to tackle him one. Their tackling is poor sometimes, but it has to do with the scheme. And when we blitz and we don't get there and we give, Drew Brees, Hall of Fame quarterback, time, we're gonna get burnt.
Yep. And look, wherever y'all are at watching this game, be sure to go ahead and drop where you're watching us from or watching the game. A little roll call action here. Right here, there's Charlotte. We're right here from Greenville, North Carolina, Eastern. That's why we didn't get to our normal week preview because of all this snow action that we got. But y'all drop the roll calls in the comments. We're going a little overtime for ourselves tonight because this is the last post-game show of the year, obviously, unfortunately. But y'all been keeping it hot. Ricky Sellers, Peyton brought out the broom. Oh, I've already read that one. Sorry. Derek Love, Peppers got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. I think that's a fair debate. He had 10.5 sacks this season at 37 years old, one of the tops in the league. Cameron Jordan, I think, for the Saints, got voted in over him with less sacks. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. But anywho, Greg Olsen tonight, I would have never guessed he had this much. 8 catches, 170 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, we had 2 receivers over 100 yards.
Holy shit! Well, that's not even a receiver. That's a running back. That's Christian McCaffrey.
We had 2
6
people
catches,
receive the ball over 100 yards. But that's when
one thing, Carolina improves to 0 and whatever when they haven't led at halftime this year. Just saying. That's an important stat, apparently.
And so that's what I was saying when our friend Justin said that, the Panthers weren't the better team or they weren't that good. The stats, it was an even game. It's 1 catch away from going to the next round. 1 catch. It's a 14-point swing. So, no, the teams were very evenly matched for the third game, and the Panthers came out and one catch. That's it.
Yep. I believe. Derek Love. I believe I saw a stat saying we blitz on 56% of passing plays this season. That is correct, and that is terrible. Let's see. Do some roll calls. Antonio Carrell, as always, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Thank you, buddy. Ricky Sellers, Durham, North Carolina. Thank you. Keenan Ashworth, Fayetteville, watching from Kuwait. If you're in the military, which it sounds like you are, those are 2 big military towns. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for supporting the Panthers, number 1, and then supporting us, number 2. Dante Ames got to replace Worley. It would seem that way, and he's watching from Greensboro. He called in earlier. Thank you, Dante. Keep pounding. Thank you, guys. Back to the stats here for a minute. Michael Thomas. I don't even want to read this number. Jesus Christ. 8 catches, 131 yards. He ate James Bradbury up tonight. Him, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans destroyed James Bradbury 2 out of the last 3 weeks, and it was awful.
Yeah,
You can't argue, right? Ted
I
Ginn,
can't.
4 catches, 115 yards, obviously. One of them for the big touchdown to start the game. 1 catch for 80 yards and a touchdown. Badal, Josh Hill, the tight end, 3 catches, 49 yards.
And he made
Touchdown.
some great. Hill
He
had
made
some
some
great
crazy-ass
possession catches, and that kept drives alive.
Where they have had, let's do this. We're going to go to the bracket here. And right now, it shows as Atlanta playing Philadelphia and the Saints playing Minnesota. Who are you taking in Atlanta, Philadelphia?
Atlanta.
I would agree. Who are you taking in Saints, Minnesota? This is obviously the biggest one.
Saints.
I would take the Saints. Because I don't think Case Keenum's going to come out and outperform Drew Brees when he has to.
No,
and the Saints defense has played well considering they've gotten away with holding calls and other shit. Call me salty, whatever.
And I said, when it first came out, the wild cards came out and it was all set stone. I said that the wild card
team
would be in the conference championship and would go to the Super Bowl. Yep. And now that, the Rams got beat by Atlanta, it just makes it way easier. I think that Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta could have beat. Atlanta couldn't have beat. Or the Rams couldn't have beat the Vikings or whatever.
Right.
So now that you have the Saints going to play the Vikings, I think they're going to just destroy them.
I think we could easily see Falcons Saints in the NFC Championship, another home game for the Saints, which they would probably win.
And a lot of people are picking the Saints to win the Super Bowl, and I just don't see Case.
God, I hope not. Blow a 28-3 lead. Is that a joke?
Case Keenum is not. He doesn't have the experience.
No.
And the Saints team they're good. And then I don't. On the other side of the brackets, hey, Jacksonville could beat the Steelers.
Patriots are going there, bro. You have to know that.
I think the Patriots are going.
You have to know they have the home field advantage. I would give it to the Steelers if they had home field advantage in the AFC Championship. They just can't win in Foxborough. I don't know what it is. They just can't win in Foxborough, and that's an issue for me. If they always they always lose somehow or another in Foxborough. So,
but when the Jags played the Steelers early in the year, the Jags blew them out.
Who?
The Steelers.
Oh, so, yeah. Well, that was early in the year, though. So, I mean,
5 picks from Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. Corey Davis, watching from Statesville, North Carolina, a big supporter of the show. Thank you, Corey. Jessup Culp, Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Appreciate that as well.
The Derek Love comment, thoughts on Funch's lack of effort going for the pass at the end of the game. I think he was already up in the air. He had already made his move when that ball was in the air. He was between two defenders, getting his hands down as far as he could. It was just bad timing.
It sucks, yeah.
Yeah, it was bad timing.
Because it was clearly, I thought, a decent, as good as you can make a Hail Mary pass. Yeah. I think it was there for Funchess to make, and he just made it at the wrong time. And him getting tangled up with, I think it was Crawley, or it may have been Lattimore. He got tangled up with one of the DBs, and when he made his move, it was just a hair off, and the DB made that timing an issue. These refs were letting players play. I think that had a lot to do with it as well. Jessup Culp, Boyertown, Pennsylvania, Derek Love, McKinney, Texas. Thank y'all all for tuning in. We're right here out of Eastern North Carolina. It's fun to see all of y'all tuning in from different states, supporting the Carolina Panthers. I'm honestly shocked at some of the ones we've seen. I've seen Hawaii this year.
Yeah.
So thank you for liking and following. Can't appreciate it enough. Nesro Stone from Morrisville. Derek Love, straight out of Carolina. However, yeah.
So he said he's in Texas.
Oh,
straight out of Carolina.
He's from Carolina. All right, sweet. Even better. Hey, follow where that money goes, brother. I can't blame you. Let's see here. I'm going to roll in some other comments. With the new GM and OC possibly owner, we may finally have a splash off season to give Cam tons of weapons. Unfortunately, I would disagree because of the cap situation. And that's the only reason. The draft, maybe. The draft, who knows? Marty Herney's back in it's hard to predict what Marty Herney's going to do versus Dave Gettleman. Dave Gettleman is he's an open book. Marty Herney, however, is different. I will say, if Marty Herney drafts this year, which it seems like he should, he normally nails the number 1 draft pick. Hopefully that continues this year.
I got a question for you.
Oh, God, he's got a question for me.
You think that we're getting close to missing our window
For the Super Bowl?
for the Super Bowl?
Oh, we lose it every
already,
year.
You think it's already passed?
I'm not going to say that. I think next year will be a telling sign with how we perform. We haven't had back-to-back winning seasons in franchise history, and I think that's a very problematic stat for next year. If we don't make the playoffs next year, I would be terribly worried that we wasted Cam Newton. And, well, I say we wasted Cam Newton. 2015, he was MVP, 15-1, went to the Super Bowl, and we just got matched up against a hell of a defense that Mike Shula wasn't prepared for. But if we miss the playoffs next year, I think we're wasting our time. But Curtis Samuel, I can't stress the importance of Curtis Samuel being healthy, being a part of that. Now, obviously, we need depth, and I would like to see a receiver drafted. But Damiere Byrd is also good depth at receiver, as he's shown with his short time with Samuel out. Keenan Ashworth, mad salute to you guys. Hey, thanks, man. Joseph Jones, Bradbury took a huge step back. Yes, he did, and I think it has a lot to do with the man coverage. Jessup Cope with it. We just talked about that. Field coach. It takes 3 years to develop cornerbacks to their potential in the NFL. I think Bradbury and Worley will come out balling next year. Hey, I hope you're right. But we could have had Marshawn Lattimore this year. Well, nah, we couldn't have. We wouldn't have taken him at 8 overall. I take that back. It's not going to happen. But, hey, look, I hope you're right. I wouldn't be against taking another one this year. Gunter played well in his short reps tonight. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, he plays well in Madden for me online when he gets automatically substituted. So that must mean he's a baller, yo.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
He made
some great plays.
That
while he was
open tackle in the open field, dude. When I was worried, I was like, "Oh, here we go. Our secondary is already awful. Now we're gonna go to backups." But he made the plays. He stepped up when he needed to step up.
Dante commenting back to Phil. Phil, you must be drunk. Worley doesn't deserve practice squad. Dante, I have to disagree with you there. He's been inconsistent as hell this year.
Nah, fuck Worley.
There's Billy's comment. Go Pat. Tira, we got trolls. We made it. We got trolls. We made it. We got somebody here saying go Pats. We made it when we got trolls in here saying go Pats. No, fuck the Pats. And Tom Brady's mad because he ain't win Patriot of the Week award or whatever the bullshit that is. Go to hell, Tom. Ricky Sellers, my pick now. The Panthers are out. It is the Steelers, then Big Ben retires. Oh, that'd be convenient. Phil, he's out of Asheville, North Carolina. Thanks. Go Mountains. Is there anything out there?
They got good beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good breweries. Antonio Carrero, I would like to see Bill Cowher in our front office.
Because everybody says that because he lives in North Carolina.
It's a popular vote. Marcel Fletcher, we have to stop using patch players. We have to get players that's explosive in the OC. I agree. Do you think Peppers, Jessup Culp, do you think Peppers comes back for one more? Yes, I do. If I'm throwing it out there, I think he does.
I think
he's surrounded by the talent. I really hope Steve Wilkes leaves. Some people might hate me for this. I really hope Steve Wilkes leaves, and we find a better D coordinator for this talent. Excuse me, my beer's catching up to me.
Yeah, he stayed healthy, and like the tweet said earlier, he says he feels good. I think he'd come back for one more year.
He just had 10.5 sacks. How would he not want to come back?
Because he's already got paid, and he's 37 years old.
Well, that's always a good point. But if you can come back and get another you can get another big contract off a year you just had this year,
or incentives. I don't know. He stayed healthy. Maybe.
Abel Stimson, damn it hurts, but we had a good run. The Panthers play hard. You couldn't ask for nothing better. I wish some things would have turned out a little bit different and got some more calls from the refs. But it was a great game. Love to come back. We just need to put more depth and get more depth and get more younger and bring a little bit more talent in. I agree. Here's my thing on this whole season. We were 11-5. It didn't feel like that to me.
It's fun. It's funny. Like, we got to the playoffs and like
y'all be sure to call in too 704-665-0489. Go Billy.
Like we get in at 15-1, but then we skate in all the rest of the time. Like when we've been like, and then we go 11-5, and it gets to the playoffs. I'm like, man, this team shouldn't even be 11-5. Like it doesn't. I don't know. It flew by, and I felt. A lot of games were close. I felt like we weren't as good as our record shows. It's a weird feeling. And now it's over. Man, it sucks.
Yeah, Dante Ames. What about Corn Elder? I mean, we haven't had enough. He's been injured. He was on IR all year. We haven't had enough to dissect there. I can't put an opinion out on him. Hopefully he turns out to be good. Antonio Corral, Wilkes will be gone. 5 interviews. I hope. Look,
hopefully he interviews well because if 5 teams could talk to him and they say,
I'm here to tell you, the problem is his last half of the season is not in his favor.
Yeah.
Let's see. Todd Walker, good show, fellas. I appreciate it, Todd. What do you guys input or take on the Panthers up for sale? Sabatis is obviously one of the hot names right now, but he's also one of the ones that thinks the Carolina Panthers need a dome somewhere to try to bring in Billy's got.
How can somebody say we need a dome to bring anything in? We have sellout after sellout after sellout. We're one of the better grossing teams for profit.
You're right. Yep.
The thing is we just had to beg to get the renovations.
For football games strictly is that problem. He's talking about bringing a dome. The whole purpose of bringing a dome is for more events outside of football, like New Orleans and Atlanta. You bring in concerts. You bring in other sporting events. You bring in all of this stuff, and it brings money to the city.
They have that down the street. It's called the racetrack.
No,
they do concerts there.
You're comparing the NASCAR to the NFL. That's not even fair. The NASCAR is on a bad downslope.
No. But I'm saying that venue
is
there.
The NASCAR is not a dome.
No, but the venue's there to have the concerts.
No, it's not. It's outside.
It doesn't bring. I don't think
that's not.
But you got to get Charlotte to pay. You got to get somebody to pay for it, and they already didn't want to pay for the renovation.
I don't think a dome happens in reality. I don't think a dome happens in Charlotte, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, and I don't think it's impossible. Like. I like the outside sporting events. When I went to the 2013 Saints-Panthers game in Charlotte, they won the NFC South Division Championship in a monsoon, and the stadium got louder and louder as it rained harder and harder. It was the best really outside the NFC Championship game in 2015, it was the best experience I ever had at Bank of America Stadium. That was what I live for. I love weather elements games. I love a foot of snow in Buffalo watching football. That's what I live for. I love weather elements game. I think it brings something else to it. I would like it to stay just like it is. But I can see the revenue as a business aspect as well. I would prefer the weather elements, though. And it's like you said, Charlotte just barely forked out the money recently to do the renovations.
And I was reading online about, people that know about the finances. Charlotte won't have any money to give in a couple years when they want to build a dome. The only thing they'll be able to – tax incentives is the only thing. That's the only – so there's no money there. I don't – the crowds sell it for football.
They find ways. They find ways. Cities find ways.
I
don't think Charlotte would be that city. But
I would hate to play in it. After going to Bank of America, I would hate to go to a dome.
Well, New Orleans fans beg to differ. Anyway, this guy, Nick Hutton, we need to acquire Des Bryant. Investment in receivers is a must. We know Cam can't be as accurate as D. Brees was tonight, but it seems like our wide receivers struggle when it comes to stretching out and catching the ball. They want Cam to throw it at their chest, and the NFL, no pass is perfect. Should we consider investing heavily this offseason and a receiver.
I'll go on this one first. Des Bryant is not Des Bryant who he used to be. Des Bryant has trouble catching the ball also. Des Bryant's time is come and gone. He got paid a lot of money. He played well. He's still using his entitlement.
He's done.
But I think he's done as a receiver.
Done. Corey Davis, I think Sabatis' group will buy whether a dome is in the future or not. That's a possibility. And he has, Sabatis has to realize that as well, much to like Corey's comment. He has to realize whether he buys Carolina or not. He's not going to know whether he can get a dome. Yeah. He's going to buy the Panthers for what they're worth and what they can bring in, regardless if he can build a dome or not. That's something he's going to have to worry about afterwards. No, Antonio Carrero, no on Dez. We should have kept KB for that matter. Hey, that's actually not a bad point. I kind of agree with that. So where do we go from here? Markel Fletcher, we draft and we get better, baby. We reload. We come back next year and we go for that damn Super Bowl every year. That's what we do.
We didn't.
That's all we ever do.
A lot of people say we struck out with McCaffrey. I don't think we struck out. We drafted well.
He'll be well.
We drafted well. Our receivers got hurt.
Ron Rivera will have to give up on Mike Shula at some point in his career if he wants to keep a career here in Charlotte. He just signed an extension. I think he has to keep up. Like I said earlier, though, my only worry about that is that the end of this game may have kept him longer than he should be.
Well, that's the thing. He's here till 2020. They don't fire anybody. They're gonna have to leave. Shula's gonna be here. Somebody's gonna want him, and with the offensive schemes he puts up, he's not going anywhere.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we'll answer a couple more comments here. What if the Giants don't give Odell his money? Should we give him a shot? I'd love to have that playmaker on my team, regardless of his issues. And we're about to sell to a new owner.
Well, then you might as well go for Martavis Bryant.
Hell no, he ain't nearly the playmaker Odell is.
But we don't know Odell coming back from broken leg, broken foot, broken ankle, whatever it is. It sucks. I
take Odell over Dez.
It does suck. It happened on his contract year because he was going to make a lot of money.
I'll take ODB over Dez Bryant any day of the week. Abel Stimpson, Drew Brees is good, but if they play the game fair, there was a lot of holding calls not called. You're right. I completely agree. We said it at the start of the show. I thought it kind of, much like the Atlanta game, really, it kind of set a tone, but we hung tough. Carolina battled, came back, and had a chance late. And I thought a bullshit and intentional grounding call potentially cost us the game, but we could have won with all the chances we had in the red zone. I think red zone chances killed us this game.
Yeah.
We should have, honestly, early on, we should have went for it on 4th and 2 instead of kicking it. Obviously, hindsight's, as Cam says, is 50-50. Hindsight is 20-20 in my eyes. Hindsight's 20-20. If you kick the field goal and make it there, it's fine. If you miss it and then the game ends up like it was, you probably say, why the hell didn't we go for that 4th and 2? And I would tend to agree. But you can't go to New Orleans and the Superdome against a team like this, kick field goals, even if you're making them, and win the damn game. It's just not going to happen.
I totally agree.
So, anyway, guys, it's been a fun season. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I can't thank y'all enough for all the support this year. Y'all be sure to like and follow us again right here on Facebook, Twitter at Panthersaurus, on YouTube at Panthersaurus, all those spots. We'll be bringing you some draft coverage, any updates that happen with the sale of the team, so y'all be sure to follow us. And again, thank y'all. Closing in on 3,000 likes. Hopefully by the end of the night we'll have it. If y'all can share this, comment, do whatever you can to help us get there, that'd be great. We already crossed 3,000 follows. Again, can't thank y'all enough, and maybe next year will be our year under Cam and the Rivera era. Maybe 12-4. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're going to break some records there. That'll be 2 back-to-back winning seasons. So,
yeah, let's break a record next year.
Yeah.
You know what? And this show is brought to you by Legion Space Dust IPA again. I've been drinking a little while, and I'm going to drink some more as soon as we follow this. because I think we've earned it after this season, especially the end of it. Thank you guys again. Keep pounding, and we'll keep trying to send y'all info, highlights, updates, everything. Thank you again. Keep pounding. Billy?
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for the support. We'll see you through the off season. Sucks is over, but keep pounding.